another video with the GTI. Like we said before, we are going to be doing the intake and the front mount too, but for now we're just going to be doing the intake. Pretty short video, not really too much to go into besides, you know, it's just a standard intake install. I mean, it doesn't really take too many specialty tools at all. But yeah, I guess we can just kind of get right into it. But what we do have here is the intake itself, the APR intake, which is the inlet portion with the filter, and then here is the inlet pipe, and this is separate. This is something you buy separate. And then to make all of these pieces work, you're going to need to get this APR little secondary filter for one of the air induction pipes here, just so it has somewhere to go. It's not just open. But yeah, it's not that many parts, not too crazy of an install, so I guess we'll just dive right into it. Alright, so to get started, we're going to be removing this front panel here. This is actually a part of the factory airbox system. So it comes in, air comes in from right here, comes through this channel into the intake filter into the turbo. So we're going to be taking everything factory intake out. And then this is that air induction system pipe they're going to be taking off that the filter is going to go on. So I believe in the back, I haven't checked yet, but there's a clamp right there. It looks like it's either 17 or a 7mm socket, or just a short flathead to get the inlet clamp off, and then this will come off. And then I believe this is just held in by little grommets on the bottom, so probably just gonna be able to pull that up. And one of these connections, you just squeeze the side clips, and it just comes off. So that's easy enough. And then right now we'll get to taking all these off, and then I'll tell you guys what the size of the Torx bits we're going to be using, because they are Torx bits. So yeah. Alright, so these screws here are T25 Torx bits. There's one here and then one on this side, and then you're going to want to, you know, pop this out of its little spot here, and then let's see if she'll just come out. Boom, that's done. Now we'll move to the actual airbox itself. Looks like there's just these little pull grommets. I'll hold it in. So there's one. There's two, and then there's the other one. So this whole thing is loose now. And just kind of move everything out of the way and get it ready to come out of the car. So that clamp in the back is a 7mm, or like I said, a stubby little flathead that you could fit down there, but I'd recommend using like a 1/4" drive ratchet just with a 7mm on it, just to get it off. But there's going to be this vacuum line here that you're going to want to take off, and I'm just using a little pick to get underneath the hose here, and hopefully I can work it off to where it won't, you know, break. It shouldn't, but I'm just gonna work on getting this off, and then I'll take the intake out. Alright, now that we have the clamp loose in the back, I should just be able to pull this guy off. I might need to loosen it some more, but everything else is disconnected. I took that vacuum line off over here from the fitting here, and there is a fitting that comes with the new intake for that vacuum line, but I'm gonna see if I can loosen this some more so it'll not fight us. Ooh. And then when you do buy, I believe, the inlet pipe, it comes with a new hose here. I'm not quite sure what this is, but you won't be needing it with the new intake, just from there's no inlet for this pipe. So I'm assuming, so when you buy that inlet pipe, you just replace this as just, you know, something that they recommend. So now that this is out, we can continue installing the new one. Alright, so now we're just going to move on to installing the inlet. And it's just as simple as putting it on the original location and then finding a spot where it's not going to rub anything, and that'll be the resting place. And just because I don't want to fight it, I'm going to put everything on loose, just so we can clamp everything down all at once. So if you look here, This is one of those mounting where the bushings go, one of these right here. Just slides on that. So this comes with the intake. It's going to go in this little hole here. It's not very snug, but you know, it's not really going to be moving around too much once you fasten it all down. So just going to slide this into place. Work this on here. Find the... Actually, hold on. My mistake. It's going to be this one. So there's 3 of these mounting points, and it's going to be this one right here. Now we just start clamping all of the clamps down, and then looks like there's 2 locations where we can tap into the factory shroud. There's actually a screw hole here, and then this one it looks like we're gonna have to tap into with the screws. But yeah, we'll just keep moving along here. So everything's in, all the clamps are tight. Back clamps are tight, these are tight, and you know, this is in place, everything's good. When you get it, just double check all of the these bolts back here that secure the filter, and if you need to replace the filter, this is how you're gonna replace it as well. There's just Allen heads that you just take off, and then this whole thing pops out. But here's that little extra filter here that routes to that air induction system that went into the side of the factory airbox right here. And what we did is we zip tied it to this coolant line here. I mean, it can just be temporary. You can choose to do it a different way, but you know, this whole kit came with zip ties, so they knew that this was just going to be loose and hanging. So with the coolant line that we zip tied the air induction system to, it used to run on the top of the airbox right here, and what we did is we actually routed it underneath the APR intake. So just keep in mind that the bend is going to be a little bit more than it was from factory, so just try not to kink it and find a spot for it. We found a spot that it's not going to kink. And it's when you take it off, or if you, because what we did was we put the intake on and it was on top of the intake, so we disconnected it from right here. And if you do that, a little coolant's going to come out, don't worry about it, and then just route it underneath where you need to go. But look at the weave on this. APR really knows how to, I mean, it is APR, so you know, they know how to do their carbon. It's pretty much what they're known for, but it looks really good in this engine bay. One thing that I forgot to mention here, so if you look in the back there's a screw. So if you look, we actually were able to use one of the OEM screws to secure the intake to the front grill trim, and that was actually a factory hole there. So we just used one of the screws that secured the factory inlet for the intake, that big plastic bar that went on the front. We just used one of the screws from that to secure the intake in that position. Then the other spot just slides in behind this little plastic tab. So it's pretty simple to get the intake in. And yeah, I just thought I'd mention that just in case anybody was wondering how it's actually secured to the grill. And here we go again. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if it actually improves any of the intake noise that you get. And Daniel actually went ahead and put on the MAP 2 for the JB4 too, so it'll definitely pull a lot better now that, ooh, I can even hear the spool a little bit better just by rolling. Give it a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's just a little quick video. Didn't really have to go into too much detail just because it is pretty simple. Like, you just have those 2 clamps on the back, these 2 clamps here, that securing bushing on the bottom, this filter, and 1 screw to secure the intake to the grill trim. So I mean, it's not really, I can't really go too into detail. I mean, it didn't really like, it's not a super loud intake to where you can hear like a bunch of turbo noise, but at the same time, it will benefit the car just because, you know, it has a direct line for air to go straight into the intake in the filter right there, and it's cold air because it's right in the front, and it's just really pretty. That's pretty much one of the main reasons why you would get a full carbon intake, is just because it's just so pretty. And it's very lightweight. That's another thing too, and it takes away a lot of the bulkiness of the factory intake and just cleans up the engine bay substantially. So I don't know, Daniel, do you like it?
I'm pretty happy with these past two
little mods
that we've got going. I think with the JB4, this, and the Armitrix downpipe, you know, you're spending $1,000 and you're getting quite a bit of performance out of the car. I can't even imagine if you went for an IS38 turbo, just what this car could perform with. Since we are upgrading the intercooler, that can last with 650 horsepower in the car. If we really wanted to and put a huge turbo into it, yeah, I don't even want to think how much horsepower this thing could really offer.
It would be a crazy sleeper.
It would be crazy. I mean, it is still my daily, so I'm really happy with where it is right now. I'm not trying to be, you know, doing 160 on the freeway. I can do that. Not my day job.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that. But no, I'm so happy with it. It really cleans up the engine bay, and I honestly, that's kind of why I wanted the APR intake. You know, obviously there's other intakes out there if you really want to get that big turbo noise and that spool. Then there's other, you know, intakes out there that are maybe less expensive that give you that, especially open airbox ones. But I really wanted to open up the hood and have people look at how nice this carbon fiber is, which is really why I wanted to go for it. I'm looking for more of a clean build than just full, you know, pleasing. Aesthetics for me are pretty important, and I like the stock look, so I think what we're doing here is going to be really cool and really fun, so I hope you guys really enjoy the videos that we're making about it. You know, because I know from myself looking at videos, when I was looking at what I wanted to get, it was important for me to see somebody that had a full detail and depth video of how they're doing everything. So I hope that you guys really can learn from all these and make a fun build.
So, like I said, super short, simple video, nothing crazy. I figured there's some people out there that are going to find this interesting. I like to personally go in depth with things and kind of go into why we do things like this, and, you know, the benefits that you're going to be getting, instead of just throwing it on or fooling around, acting, you know, I guess childish. So real quick, if you're interested in buying our merch or anything like that, this shirt isn't going to be available. We made this actually a really long time ago when we first started, but we are selling hats, stickers, and black tees with the VC Circle logo. So if you are interested, you can visit our website, and if you'd like, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and also follow us on Instagram. So I'd like to thank you again for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.